Hello everyone, this is POW Ponder on Weather. In this update, we've got one more day of severe weather with flash flooding and large hail before the atmosphere settles down for a couple of days, but then it just ramps back up again for Friday into the weekend. Good morning everyone, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get all my daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it. Let's take a look at the overall surface map for your Sunday, April the 24th, and it's been very active over the last couple of days in the middle of the country. We have that blizzard that's winding down here in North Dakota, but there's that cold front that's bringing all the instability in the atmosphere, and it's 30 degrees this morning in Denver. But out ahead of it, we still have some stronger storms, and some of those could be on the severe side later on this afternoon into the evening. But right now, we've got showers and storms ringing out into portions of Chicago, moving out of Kansas City, out ahead of it through Tulsa. We had some big storms overnight into the Oklahoma City area. This cold front has really kind of slowed down. It's going to bring a lot of instability and a lot of heavy rain as we get into the evening hours, into the overnight hours, and some of these could be on the strong to severe side. But man, it's been a very active past couple of days, and look at the preliminary storm reports from the Storm Prediction Center. All these numerous storms out here from up to 11 tornadoes have been reported so far, and numerous wind reports and a lot of large hail extending from the Texas Panhandle all the way through South Dakota. Then yesterday, we had more instability as that same system continues to push off further to the east. That's even a tornado, guys, up there, way up there in Minnesota. That was a confirmed touchdown yesterday afternoon. But so far, there was 4 reported tornadoes, and these are all preliminary reports, and some of these could be adding to these totals as the National Weather Service will be out doing their surveys over the next several days. But today we've got a lot to talk about, because this storm system will continue to move across into the east, but it actually slows down, and with that, right along into the portions of the Missouri Valley, especially as you go into Oklahoma, there's actually a moderate risk for flash flooding today. That's typically indicative of 4 to 6 inches of rain. Some of these areas could pick up 8 inches of rain with these training storms, essentially from areas north along the Red River in Texas, getting into portions of central and eastern Oklahoma, especially as you go into portions of Arkansas. But all in this yellow shaded area too, we could be picking up 1 to 3 inch swath, essentially from North Texas all the way through Arkansas and southern Missouri here, but even lighter amounts as you extend all the way from Del Rio to portions of Illinois and Indiana with that very heavy rainfall. But yeah, today, this is the updated outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. They have highlighted several areas of slight risk for severe weather. Typically, that's really indicative for some of those larger hail that's going to be falling out of the sky. But yeah, basically along that boundary here, a marginal risk from Del Rio all the way up into portions of Michigan here, with these highlighted areas in and around the Fort Worth area, basically just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area into the western counties. But there's also another bullseye down here into Del Rio area. There's also another highlighted area up here towards portions of Illinois, as well as a good chunk of Michigan here. And then the main culprit of that is going to be your very large hail that could be falling. And there's that bullseye right down here towards the Del Rio area. Some of those could be very large hail producers of that golf ball size hail or bigger. And we've seen numerous of that big hail over the last couple of days. So there is some cold air aloft that you got cold air falling behind this, and that's going to be supportive. Once the updrafts get up in that atmosphere, it's going to be producing some pretty large hail producers. But yeah, some of these could be into the quarter size variety, and even ping pong size hail portions of west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then there's that highlighted area up here that also could see some larger hail in its path as well. And we do have an isolated tornado threat, but it is very low. There is a 2% chance of an isolated tornado threat within these sectors later on this afternoon into the evening hours. But back behind it, man, we got some cold air back behind it after this cold front. I mean, the average high right now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is around 78 degrees. So they're going to be checking in around 59 by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon. Under all that rain, I think the rain's going to be over by then. But that's a pretty strong cold front back behind it. You can see the warm sector out ahead of it, well into the 80s, 84 in Houston, 90s down here in South Texas, and much of the Southeast that's been kind of taking a break from the severe weather this week, and that's a welcome sight for them. But as we get into tomorrow, there's that cold front. So I think a lot of that cold air is going to be entrenched in the pattern, and then it's going to be losing a lot of the instability in the atmosphere. So that severe threat should be subsided by then. And now we're just looking at some moderate rains going to be pushing off and further to the southeast, going into central Texas, going into South Texas, moving into parts of Louisiana, getting into portions of Mississippi, through Arkansas, going into Tennessee with some little bit lighter amounts as you get up here into the Ohio Valley. But you can see the snowstorm really winding itself down by then in the middle of the country as the atmosphere kind of resets and just, takes a break for a while after that active system been moving through the past couple of days. But yeah, we have another trough that's going to be moving into the Pacific Northwest. Is going to be bringing some sporadic showers for them. But as we transfer into Tuesday timeframe, there's that cold front will continue to shift off further to the southeast. These are just light rain showers. I'm not talking about bigger, big amounts or anything like that, but these could be looking at some scattered showers into the afternoon hours as this will continue to push off. And then there's that other cold front that's going to be into the Pacific Northwest, continue to dive down a little bit further and push into portions of Oregon and to Idaho. But as we get into Wednesday, it really sets down, and it's not really until Thursday you can see that trough digging out here into the northeast. Some of these areas could be waking up to a freeze by the time we get into your Thursday morning time frame into the Ohio Valley, portions of the Mid-Atlantic, into the Northeast, with those cooler conditions still impacting those areas as the atmosphere kind of reloads and resets itself. Yes, there's the warm sector again. So we're talking about well above average temperatures rebounding in the middle of the country, but yet we have another trough that's going to be digging into the Pacific Northwest, and that is going to be setting the stage for more instability in the atmosphere as we get into Friday and next weekend. So if we walk you through Friday, your April the 29th, you can see this little short wave coming across. So you've got the powerful trough that's going to be digging through the Four Corners regions. That's the short wave going to be tapping into that southwest wind with that instability, with some of those Cape values getting higher by then. That could be looking at some more strong to severe thunderstorms in a lot of the same areas that were impacted from the last week's storm. So if we take a look at some of the Cape values, by then, yeah, you've got plenty of instability coming back in the atmosphere into portions of Texas, going back into Oklahoma, through the Central Plains here, going all the way back up into Nebraska, into the Dakotas again, as the dew points will be rapidly surging back into through the 50s, through the 60s, getting back up into the middle 60s, and even portions of maybe upper 60s. So yes, we have more instability coming back in the atmosphere as the dry line will get active again by then. This won't be until basically next on Friday time frame. But yeah, by then we could be looking at more strong to severe thunderstorms as the flash index really starts to light up again out here in West Texas, into portions of Oklahoma, getting into central Kansas, getting into Nebraska again, through the Dakotas, with more strong to severe thunderstorms will be out ahead of that dry line again as it starts to get active over the Central Plains. And yes, we have another deepening surface low with a lot of the areas that got impacted from the heavier snows in portions of Montana as well as of the Dakotas. Yes, that's another powerful, pretty much surface low up here into portions of Canada, wrapping back down some of that snow on the backside. And then you have all that instability on the tail of that will bring that severe weather on the southern flank. There's the surface low, about a 998 millibar low pressure by the time we get into your Saturday to end April timeframe, with that heavier snows in the Dakotas into Montana by then, with that surface low continue to push up further into Canada. But then we have that tail that's going to have that instability with it that's going to bring that severe weather. And you can see some of the high winds, so that gives you an indication of that low level jet will be moving across again by then. By the time we get into that 30th through May 1st time frame, yeah, we could be looking at higher wind gusts. And you've seen this. I mean, portions of Texas are basically your windiest month since May of 1996. So this whole area been very windy, and you're going to get a little bit of a cool down, but then it ramps back up again with the windier conditions as that system comes through by the end of the month. And then as we move through, and this is an indication where that severe weather could possibly be by the time we get into your ending April, going to that May 1st time frame, right over portions of North Texas and to Central Texas, into Oklahoma, through the plains again. So we're going to be looking at and kind of fine tuning this as this gets closer, but this is all the indications are on the table. We could be looking at more severe weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday going into next weekend. So, but overall snapshot through say April the 29th through May 3rd on the 6 to 10 day outlook, the jet stream is going to be further to the north. You still bring that cooler conditions to the north, and this is what they've been seeing predominantly for a good chunk of April. And I do feel that just continues extending through April and going into those first couple of days of May time frame, with the rain going to be entering portions of the central part of the country. That's where that stronger to severe thunderstorms are going to be. But once we move into that 8 to 14 day time frame, again, a lot of the same areas are going to be below average. So the below average temperatures, I feel, is just going to continue going through the first week of May timeframe for our areas to the north, and especially to the Ohio Valley, as that rain shield will push off further to the east by then and have a little bit more above average precipitation for portions of the Tennessee Valley going into the Carolinas through the West Virginia area. But as we take you through the overall snapshot of the rain amounts between say now and till the atmosphere settles down to about Thursday time frame, you see we got some scattered amounts up here into the Pacific Northwest. Very dry out here in the desert Southwest. There's that instability with that moderate risk for flash flooding today. So a lot of that impacts today, going into some of that tomorrow. But you can see definitely lighter amounts as you get further into the east as well as the southeast. But once we add that other instability going into Friday into next weekend to push you through say May 3rd time frame, yes, I think more rain comes back for the Pacific Northwest, where you're going to have those daily rain showers starting back up again, with that trough going to be digging back into that part of the country. So you're going to be looking at more rain into portions of off the west coast here into the Pacific Northwest, going back into Northern California. A lot of these same areas dry again, and then with that same system continuing into the Central Plains, more heavier rain for a lot of the same areas that are going to be getting it today. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.